Hey everyone, I've got a locomotive update today. Layout's on hold at the moment because I'm still waiting on track. I don't know what the issue is. I've got some stuff lost in the mail for my Code 83 track, and I'm just waiting on that to get going. So in the meantime, I'm revisiting some of my locomotives that I've had and converting them to DCC and sound. So this guy here is a Proto 2000, very old Proto 2000. The original ones pre-Walters owning them essentially. SD45 and in Seaboard Systems number 2002. So I've always liked Proto 2000s. They're very well built, very smooth running, and the price point that you can get ones now used, it makes them very, very affordable, which is nice. Details on them are great. It's just I really, really like them. Anyway, converting them to DCC, at least the original older ones, is not that easy because there's not really any room inside these units to actually mount the DCC and sound decoder. So the stock ones come with this little tiny board that sits inside right here. And this board basically has got the little header on there, pin out so you could wire up, an old DCC style module. But again, there's just not very much room inside at all. To get the modern decoders in there, or anything, including a speaker for that matter, you really got to make some modifications, which is what I did here. So on this unit, I actually had to take it over to my mill and mill out this entire section. This whole block is cast aluminum right here in the frame. Milling that out, because there's nothing really else that needs to be there, it gives me the room to mount the actual Tsunami decoder and also the speaker, which I'll talk about here in a second. So the decoder I used is the Tsunami2 TSU PNP. This is the EMD-2 version of it, diesel obviously. So I really like the Tsunamis. They just sound so good. The register functionality in there too, as far as programming, is just so powerful as well. But really, really good decoders. So anyway, I chose that unit for this. Actually, I had that one, which is why I put it in here, because it was a spare one that I had. And as I said, to modify that, to get this in here, you have to modify it quite a bit. So once you have it milled out, and I'm able to lay the board in there, very nice. And then for the speaker, there's really not any room for your sugar cube style speakers or anything like that. But I've been really liking the cell phone style speakers for all my locomotives, especially the Atherns that I've done a video on, because there's like zero room in there for any type of speaker realistically. So with this, I was able to, this is an iPhone 6 speaker. Again, these are not the headset speakers or the earphone speakers. They're the actual speaker for sound. Typically you got the port on the bottom, which is where that is right there that comes out. A lot of people have been using these lately, and the sound quality on them is just outstanding. So I was super happy with that. So anyway, I've got the decoder in here, just mounted with some double-sided tape to the bottom of the frame, and then I have the actual speaker, again, double-sided tape to the top decoder. And then the other thing I like about the Proto 2000s is because there's really nothing in terms of wiring that needs to go to the actual shell itself, because you've got your front light, your rear light, everything here obviously is there, so you don't need to have any wires that fold over into the actual shell that make it difficult to kind of when you have to put it back together. So this is it. Everything's right here, and this just sits nicely on top. Again, so I modified it with LEDs as well. So I've got the warm. I have one laying here. I have a module around. I showed one before, but yeah, one of these things. I've just been ripping all the LEDs off these cheap halogen replacement modules. You can get on eBay for next to nothing. But the LEDs on there are really nice, warm light, which I like. That makes the headlights look really good. And these are super cheap, cheaper than buying the LEDs by themselves. But anyway, so I've got LED front and back mounted onto here. And then all the wiring just kind of tucked in really nicely there at the top. So again, once I put this back together, this will just slide on really, really nice. And then I'll have to finish assembling the rest of it. But so that's where I'm at. So I'll show the quick video of this running, and like I said, just waiting for track so I can finally get going on the layout. One additional thing too is I don't actually have a current keeper on this. I find typically I don't really need them, although they are a good thing. But what I've been doing is just using the standard capacitor where the current keeper would go. So up here I've got a 1000 microfarad at 16 volt capacitor, and actually solder it right to the board, right there where the current keeper plug is. I just solder it on permanently, and that usually is typically good enough. I mean, as long as you have good track and you don't have any issues there, it's generally not necessary to have one, just in my opinion. I mean, not that they're a bad thing, but the problem with this is there's literally nowhere to put one. If I were to either make my own out of a handful of supercapacitors, or buy one of the authentic ones, it's really the only spot I would have to put it would probably be back here, I'm guessing. So I'd have to mill more away to stick it in there. The fuel tanks on these two are hollow, but the motor actually sits down into it, into the frame as well, so you don't actually have as much room down in there as you think you would to put something, or put a current keeper. But anyway, let's go run this guy real quick. So there it is. I obviously got to get the shell on there, and I haven't done any programming of this at all. So, you know, the voltage curves and the acceleration, the momentum is all probably is off for that matter. But it's fun going through these two because you can tweak so much stuff in the sound. But that's it. So next video I'll have this thing all together and programmed all up. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching.